157,000 deaths. 157,000 deaths since March due to COVID-19. To put this shit in perspective, let me speak on something that motherfuckers act like they care about at least, which is war. Let's look at these some of the major wars in American history. The American Revolution, 1775 to 1783, 4,435 deaths. The War of 1812, well really it lasted from 1812 to 1815, 2,260 deaths. The so-called Indian Wars, you know, where the U.S. government was basically slaughtering Native Americans. About 1,000 deaths, and that's from 1817 to 1898. The Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, 13,283 deaths. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Now, I'm just looking at the individual sides. That's the Union and that's the Confederacy. And I'm just looking at battle deaths. Now, if I include civilian deaths and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, it's going to be more than COVID. But just battle deaths, 140,414 deaths for the Union, 74,524 deaths for the Confederacy. And we talking about war. The Spanish-American War, which really, the battle was really in 1898. But what I use for my information, coming from the Veterans Affairs Department of the U.S. government, they classified as 1898 1902, and it still was 2,446 deaths. World War I, 116,516 deaths in World War I. The Korean War, 1950 to 1953, 54,246 deaths. The Vietnam War, which the Veteran Affairs website classified as 1964 to 1975, 90,220 deaths. And that's including not only battlefield deaths, that's not only including deaths within the theater of war, that's including pretty much anybody in service dealing with that conflict at that time. 90,220 deaths. The Persian Gulf War, the early 90s, 1,948 deaths. The war in Afghanistan, from 2001 to the fucking present, 2,353 deaths. The war in Iraq, 2003 to the present, 4,431 deaths. Well, why did I give y'all all those numbers? I gave y'all all those numbers to show y'all that this fucking coronavirus, which causes COVID-19, has killed more Americans than all of these fucking wars, except for World War II. And even with World War II, our involvement in the conflict was 1941 to 1945. You had years of conflict, and it's a fucking war. But when it comes to this goddamn virus, since March, it's killed 157,000 Americans, and nobody gives a fuck. And that shit drives me crazy. This shit here is killing people, and motherfuckers ain't giving a damn. So I wanted to give you some numbers from what people say they care about. Motherfuckers swear they care about war. We have we got Veterans Day. We got Memorial Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got Veterans Day, which came out of World War I, which I just told you, World War I, the deaths were 116,516. Coronavirus has surpassed that. So I'm wondering, are motherfuckers gonna really honor these dead people like that? I don't even know we had a National Day of Mourning yet. If we did, I missed it. You know what I'm saying? Seems like motherfuckers really just brushing over. You had former presidential candidate, former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, who basically was saying, yeah, it's gonna be deaths, but you know, basically he was like, the economy more important. You know what I'm saying? Another motherfucker that was down there in Texas, Texas Republican, was talking about shit. The elderly would be willing to die for the economy. They would be willing to make that sacrifice. That's the same shit Christie was on. We gotta make this sacrifice. And I remember all these motherfuckers used to be on this Illuminati shit and talking about blood sacrifice. This is it right here. Where you seeing that the wealthy, and you seeing that the motherfuckers that's in power don't give a fuck about the common man and woman, and they're saying you should be willing to sacrifice your goddamn life for some money. That's what they're saying. 157,000 people dead in a matter of months. And then I saw a sign. I was driving. Saw a sign about the hospital. We thank our heroes. I had to take my mama to the emergency room. She wasn't feeling well at all. So I took my mom to the emergency room in my hometown. And you pull up, big sign out there saying, heroes work here. Heroes work here. But I just talked to a nurse recently, and that nurse told me they don't even get hazard pay. That nurse told me that they're not even checking for COVID-19 anymore. That nurse told me they're not even checking their motherfucking temperatures anymore. That nurse told me that if you want a test, you had to pay $200 out of your own motherfucking pocket. And it's supposed to be the most prosperous nation on planet Earth, and we doing shit like that. We got these schools about to open back up, and I just talked to a teacher, and he told me that they ain't finna be screening them like that. He gotta drive bus, he gotta deal with the kids, he gotta do all that kind of shit. Now, as a former teacher, we're used to getting shitted on when it comes to pay. We're used to all the fucking jokes, being the most underpaid professionals. No, the motherfuckers that have been to college and you are underpaid, we're used to that. But teachers, anybody in the field, teachers, coaches, administrators, you're seeing right now. Not only do these motherfuckers not want to pay you, well, administrators, they pay you out. But yeah, teachers and coaches especially, y'all saying these motherfuckers not only don't want to pay you, they don't value your life. They don't give a fuck if you live or die. Nurses, y'all see, they don't give a fuck if you live or die. This is insane that this is happening in the most prosperous nation on planet. It's unacceptable. And I'm seeing motherfuckers say, well, you know, they just doing this shit for to control the population and or to control the citizens, and you know what I'm saying, they want to infringe on your liberties and infringe on your way of life. Man, first of all, America's spoiled as fuck. America's spoiled as fuck. You know, after George Floyd was publicly lynched, while you had black people and our allies out there in the streets protesting about systemic racism in this fucking country, you had people simultaneously out there protesting because they couldn't get a damn haircut, because they couldn't get a goddamn manicure or a pedicure, because they can't just, because sports is gone and we gotta have sports back. We need sports. No, the fuck we don't. You want sports. We didn't need that shit. That shit is not essential. Folks are spoiled. Ain't nobody infringing on shit, bro. You fucking spoiled. You gotta stop this shit, bro. Folks are fucking dying. 157,000 dead. That's more than damn near every major war that I just spoke to you about. 157,000 dead in a few months. And then you got some folks say, well, it's mostly the elderly dying. First of all, do we not value the elderly? That's one of the most fucked up things about our culture, is how folks shit on the elderly. Which is weird because we have the elderly motherfuckers running our government. The President of the United States plus 70 years old, Joe Biden plus 70 plus years old, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all these motherfuckers old, Mitch McConnell. So the motherfuckers that run the country old, but just the common man and woman who are elderly, we like, yeah, fuck y'all, y'all can die, y'all can live a long life. Yeah, they did live a long life. They've been through all kind of shit. They've been through hell. And we just should let the coronavirus take them out. They've been through wars. They've been through civil rights struggles. They've seen economic recessions. They've seen riots. They've seen it all. And we just gonna let the coronavirus take them out. Why? Because we don't value them motherfuckers. And then you got half the country swear they pro-life. And then you got the other half of the country swear we love everybody and shit like that. That's bullshit. 157,000 people dead behind this shit. And then you got this anti-science theme in America that's been here. I remember when I used to teach about the 1920s, and I would always have to teach about the so-called monkey trial, aka the Scopes trial, where you had this science teacher, he dared to teach evolution, and they had passed a law against that shit. And he talked shit anyway. Look at that. They passed a law saying what you could teach and what you couldn't teach, and he went ahead and taught science anyway, and he got jammed up behind that. And that trial made national news because it's a lot of motherfuckers who were anti-science then. It's a lot of motherfuckers who are anti-science now. There's a lot of motherfuckers who don't want evolution taught today. There's a lot of motherfuckers who want creationism taught to their babies in school. There's a lot of motherfuckers who still deny climate change right now, including the President of the United States. And that shit is still a huge threat to this world. It's not in the news right now because of COVID-19 and because of the protests against systemic racism and shit, but that's still a threat. But it's anti-science shit. Folks don't pay attention to that. Just like folks want to act like COVID-19 is a hoax because they anti-science. But it kills me. Motherfuckers don't be anti-science when it comes to these shits, when it comes to technology. You ain't anti-science then when you come to these little gadgets and shit. You ain't anti-science when you come to these motherfucking cell phones. You ain't anti-science when it comes to space exploration. You ain't anti-science when it comes to oil exploration and oil drilling and shit like that. You ain't anti-science when it comes to war. When the United States of America was trying its best to be the first country in the world to get a nuclear weapon. Back during World War II, we poured money into research and development during the Manhattan Project to be the first one with an atomic bomb. And the United States was the first country and the only country in the history of the world to use a nuclear weapon on another country. What allowed it to happen? Science. What allows us to stay on top of the world right now? Because we got this money and we pour that money into science and our military to make sure that if a motherfucker jump wrong, we gonna kill him. So when it comes to the military, folks love science because we developing ways to kill folks. But when it comes to healing folks, protecting folks, we anti-science then. Fuck the science. Dr. Fauci don't know what the fuck he talking about because I don't like what he's saying. He's hurting my re-election chances because I need this economy open so the stock market can go up and these motherfuckers can go to Walmart and to Target and to the mall and shit and they can be happy and go vote for me. I'm making this video because 157,000 people are dead. And I got a nurse telling me that they won't even test them. A nurse! But you want to say that that's your hero. And you don't give a fuck about these nurses. You don't give a fuck about these teachers. So y'all real ones out here, y'all need to take what I'm saying. And if you ain't been masking up, check yourself. If you gotta go to work, handle your business. Understand that. Mask up. Once you get all work done, you gotta quarantine. You can't be goddamn going around trying to hit no club, trying to hit no motherfucking restaurant, trying to do all this other fuck shit. I understand you want to do this shit. It's plenty of shit I want to do. This shit has affected my business. It's been a lot of shit I've been wanting to do. Can't move around, can't see the homies, can't get with the homies and do business. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This shit life and death situation. 157,000 people dead in a matter of months. That's more than war. That's more than the American Revolution, the War of 1812, the so-called Indian Wars, the Mexican War, the Civil War, in terms of just battle deaths for the Union and for the Confederacy individually. In terms of the Spanish-American War, World War I, the Korean War, Vietnam War, the Persian Gulf War, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. More Americans have lost their fucking lives to COVID-19 than these fucking wars. This shit ain't nothing to play with. So stop playing. If you don't like what the fuck I just said, fuck you very much. Don't say shit to me. Just unfollow me, block me, do whatever you gotta do. Because I'm talking to the real ones. I'm talking to the people out there that are not anti-science. I'm talking to the people out there who trying to make this a better country, who want to see our country remain number one, because we look like a fucking failed state right now. The rest of the fucking world is laughing at us. You feel me? So I'm talking to all y'all out there. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Stay home. Stay safe. If you gotta go to work, if you gotta go out, mask the fuck up. One.